The room is warm, lit by the soft glow of a single lamp. A woman, Anya, in her late 40s, sits in a worn armchair. She speaks directly to the listener, her voice a mix of warmth and weathered strength. Anya, 30 minutes to talk about Michael, about us after. Okay. I suppose I start with the quiet. Not right after, but the quiet that came later. The one that settles in after the casseroles are eaten, the relatives have gone home, and the world decides you should be moving on. That quiet was the worst. It had a sound, you know? A high-pitched hum in my ears, underneath the kids' cartoons, underneath the radio. A silence made of absence. My Lena, she was 12. Old enough to understand death, young enough to expect it to have an end date. And Sam, my little Sam, was 8. A hurricane in socks. For months, I was just furniture, a functional piece. I made lunches, signed permission slips, said brush your teeth in the right order. But I was elsewhere, floating in that quiet. The turning point wasn't dramatic. It was a Tuesday. Homework sprawled on the kitchen table. Sam had a project, my family tree. He'd drawn it himself. There was a strong branch for me, one for Lena, one for him, and for Michael. He'd drawn a cloud, a big, gray, scribbled cloud above us all, and he was coloring it in with a black crayon, pressing so hard he was tearing the paper. And I thought, my God, I am letting their father become a storm cloud, a sad, shapeless thing that only casts shadow. That was not the man I married. The man who sang off-key in the car, who cried at parades when the veterans passed, who could build a Lego spaceship with Sam for 3 hours straight and then debate the Roman Empire with Lena. I was, in my grief, committing a second loss. I was letting him disappear. So that night I sat down. I said, let me tell you about this cloud. I took the black crayon. First, I said, it wasn't gray. It was the exact blue of the shirt he wore the day we brought Lena home from the hospital. The one he spilled formula on and refused to change for 2 days because he said she'd imprinted on it. And I just started talking, not the big stories, not the wedding or the vacations, the tiny, stupid, vital ones. How he always burned the first batch of pancakes every Sunday. How he called them charcoal offerings to the kitchen gods. Fake a French accent to read Sam's pirate books. How he secretly loved those terrible reality singing shows and would get wildly invested. I showed them things. His handwriting on a recipe card for chili. A note in the margin. More cumin for Lena. Sam, beans are optional. Ha! We made that chili. Lena measured the cumin like a scientist. Sam picked out every single bean with immense solemnity. We ate at the table, and I told them about our first date, where he was so nervous he ordered a dessert wine with his steak. I realized then my job had changed. I was the archivist, the keeper of the living museum of him. And more than that, I had to build a new idol for them, not of stone, but of action. Not your father was, but because your father was, I will be. I signed up for the finance course he always handled. I sat at this very table with his old calculator, muttering, you were a wizard at this, you annoying man. But I learned. I showed Lena the budget. This is boring, I said. But your dad said knowing where your money is the most grown-up superpower. I put on his giant cracked gardening gloves. He loved his roses. I knew nothing. I killed a philodendron once. But Sam and I Googled it. We pruned the deadwood, fed the soil. Lena named each bush. There's one she calls Dad's Grumpy Red. It's thriving, There was a day. Lena came home from school. Some boy had said something cruel. You can't come to the father-daughter dance. You don't have one? She was shattered. And my old self wanted to crumble with her, to drown in the unfairness. But I heard Michael's voice in my head, not his words, but his. Calm is okay. So what's the plan? Attitude. I took a breath that felt like it reached my toes. I said, well, he clearly doesn't know about our superior fort-building skills, or that our pancake recipe officially includes charcoal. And he definitely doesn't know that Michael Rao's daughter has a backbone of titanium. I paused. So, your choice. Do we rent the cheesiest movie we can find and eat our weight in popcorn? Or do we go to that dance anyway, you and me, and wear the sparkliest dresses we own and have our own party? She looked at me, and for the first time in a year, I saw him look back at me through her eyes, that defiant, brilliant spark. She said, sparkly dresses, and we get pizza after. That was the moment I knew we'd be all right. Not fine, not over it, but all right. We had forged a new language, one built on his memory, but spoken in our present tense. Last month, on his birthday, we didn't go to the cemetery. We went to the beach where he proposed. It was freezing. The wind was brutal. Sam collected weird rocks. Lena wrote a note in the sand that the waves took away. And I stood there, my coat flapping, and I didn't talk to the sky. I talked to my children. I said, your dad's love isn't in the ground. It's not in the clouds. It's in the way Lena stands up straight now when she's nervous. It's in Sam's careful hands when he gardens. It's in my ability to finally look at our budget without a panic attack. It's in the soil of who we are now. I am not a widow trying to be two parents. I am a woman standing on the ground he helped solidify, growing a new life for our children. I am not a shadow. I am the ground itself, and from this ground their roots are deep, and their branches are reaching for the sun. Anya. And that's the story of the last 30 minutes. And every minute after,